You'll never look at Michael Strahan the same way again. Or Community. Or So You Think You Can Dance. Or CSI Miami. Or pretty much life. Magic Mike XXL is the sequel to Magic Mike, of course, bringing back this group of fun-loving friends as they go on one last road trip to do one last show at the stripper convention. That's pretty much the plot. It's an excuse for lots of abs, lots of dancing, and lots of humor. Let's start with the good part. This is a really funny movie. If this were sold as a straight-up comedy, I think I'd buy into it. There are some scenes in this that are laugh-out-loud funny, and not only for the theater which I was in, which was very much into this movie, but for me as well. I found it humorous, and I think a lot of that has to do with how likable these guys are, not only as individuals, but together. They have a great chemistry, and they're fun. And Channing Tatum, let's face it, he is one of the most likable characters in cinema today. He goes in a movie, and I just like his character. That's something cool to bring to a movie, and so that would absolutely be the best thing, would be the humor. After that, there's not really much surprise here. And that's a bad thing for me, because what it means is if you liked the first one, you know you're going to go into this one with pretty much the same expectations, and there's nothing special about it. There's nothing that makes it something that anybody outside of the intended audience would ever even want to see. And I think that's harmful to a movie. Plus, and I'll call this the worst thing, there's a real depth missing here that kind of was in the first one, even amongst all that stuff. Steven Soderbergh directed the first one, and you can miss his touch here. You can feel his touch of depth missing. So when the movie goes into those areas of talking about how intimacy is, comparing that to fantasy and offering women fantasy that kind of charades is intimacy, this movie doesn't have the depth to really dive in there. So they're sticking their toe in that water, but they won't go swimming. Very much snorkeling on the surface and not scuba diving on the topic. And that, I think, is to the film's detriment, because I think there are some deep issues here that could be explored about the physicality of our sexual nature versus the fantasy life of our sexual nature, and how those interplay and how intimacy plays in that. Can you sacrifice intimacy for fantasy and still be fulfilled? There's some interesting, kind of ways to kind of go about that. This movie doesn't care. That's not what it's about. And at the end of the day, primarily, it's about the hooting and the hollering at the screen and Channing Tatum cavorting on screen in various stages of undress. And that at the end of the day, I hate to say it, is what this movie is. And for the people I saw it with, they didn't care. That's what they were there to see. So it is exactly what you probably think it is. Overall, Magic Mike XXL, it's not a great movie. There's not a lot to it. It is funny at points, but other than that, there's nothing really to crow about. I would give it, let's just go right down the middle with a C. Thanks for checking out this Your Movie Friend Review. Stay tuned for the Best Ever Challenge here coming up in a bit. First, if you want to click on the cards up in the corner, I'd appreciate it. You can do that now. It won't stop the video. Just hover up in the corner. You'll see a little eye. Click on that, and then it'll slide out with other videos that you might want to see. Link to the website, a chance to support the channel. If you do support, leave a comment what you want me to review. I do pick one every month from my supporters to review that they want me to. That's been a fun thing. Also, I would say check out my Periscope. Follow Aaron Dicer on Periscope. Every single movie I go see, as soon as I'm out, I Periscope my thoughts and interact with you on taking your questions and those kind of things. So follow Aaron Dicer. Download Periscope on your mobile device, and then follow Aaron Dicer for that. Okay, on to the Best Ever Challenge. I do want to say one other thing. Sift Pop Podcast. Look that up on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you do podcasts. You can search for Shoe the Dough or Sift Pop, and we're having a lot of fun talking pop culture every Friday live at noon. So more details if you search for that. So Best Ever Challenge, best movie with a stripper. What do you think? Here's your chance. You can try to guess mine. I'll give you a clue. Also put yours in the comments. Let's have a little discussion. As for mine, it's the one that has a stripper in it, and also has one of Iron Man's nemesis in it as well. So figure that one out. Leave your answer in the comments. First person to get it right does get a point. Thanks. As always, here's 5 extra seconds to hit the subscribe button, which is down in this corner.